All right. Unfortunate. Unfortunate for everybody involved. Where's my phone? My phone's over here. Um so yeah, I see a few of you are already in here. And I'm trying not to post stuff like that. This is what happens when you stick with an average coach and coaching staff. I'm not even mad anymore. Congrats, answer for the second star. Honestly, Philip, you're probably not wrong with that. Just completely inexcusable performance from Milan today, losing at home 1-0 against Udinese, who get their first win in Serie A. This comes with a very frustrating result for Milan, obviously, for the reasons that I just mentioned. But overall, heading into this, after having a full week-long break, Milan head in to a home match against Udinese, who have been terrible. They have recently sacked their manager, Sotil. Gabriele Cioffi came in, picks up his first win, and this was the type of match that Milan, let alone forget losing to Udinese, they couldn't even afford to draw against them. The fact that we had to watch this happen at home when there's PSG coming up is disgraceful. This is just, there's nothing to take away from this that I would say is a positive. I wouldn't even be happy about certain performances that I saw today. I don't even think anyone played good. I think as a unit, everybody was really horrid and putrid throughout this entire match. And unfortunately for Milan, it results in points dropped at home in a week in where Lazio just lost to Bologna yesterday. So you don't pick up any points on them or Atalanta. Napoli picked up 3 points on Milan. Um, Obviously, Inter gained another 3 points to put themselves even further ahead of us in the Serie A standings. So as of right now, this is looking really rough for Milan in terms of winning the Scudetto. Top four, I'm still not really that worried about. I think they'll get it together, but I mean, this is just, it's just flat out lifeless. Let's try and get to some of the comments here. Joey says he was rooting for them because the team deserves it. I get where you're coming from with that. Jason, I'm trying not to post stuff like that. That's my bad. I should have read before. Worst game in the last 2 years? I don't know. There's been plenty. Pioli has lost the dressing room the moment management is trying to bring Ibra back. I mean, Ibra coming back. Yeah, I mean, listen, disgraceful. That was truly abysmal, flat, lethargic, uninterested. The players didn't look like they wanted to win for 80 minutes. Yeah, just overall, there's nothing to discuss. Hey Joseph, how are you, man? Good to hear from you. Just regardless of how this is going today. Um, yeah, it's a really poor one. About the AM says Nemo. Everybody subscribe to Old Hard Rosonero's channel. One of the best out there. Was on there. When was that? Last week, my man? I think last week. The team that wanted to win more won. That's all that happened. I think. It's not even that like Milan didn't even want to win. It's just not good football. It's not even effort. You know, it's decision making from guys like Rade Krunic. It's the Yassine Adlis of the world. There's so many different players that you point at in these situations and say, where were you? What were you doing? What were your ideas? Where were you going to step up? Tijani Reinders really in a bad stretch of form here. Loftus-Cheek just came back. I mean, we have to play Florenzi out of position. There's no backup right back now, especially with the third choice being Kalulu to start the year, and Kalulu's out for 4 months after he had successful surgery. So it's not even of something that was, it's lifeless. And then we go into all competitions. There's 0 wins within 4 matches. That's unacceptable for any Milan team. A lot of the issues that preceded this club, to Maldini's sacking and leaving were happening in January and February of last year. Even this time last year, we saw the signs of it. There's one common denominator outside of a few players. It's that manager. And I think the manager is the topic of discussion. There were a lot of rumors, and I'll kind of try and put this into context. Not rumors, but there was, I guess you could say, an instance between the club, the media, and whatnot regarding the coverage of the club, and I'm not going to go into further details, but one of the main topics was such below. Pioli on the hot seat. I think he's absolutely on the hot seat. I think that, running out of ideas here when injuries are a consistent issue at this team. Krunic being subbed out at the half was due to injuries, not because of play, even though it was warranted to sub him due to his play. You cannot keep going through this where it's kind of looking likely that you would finish fourth in the group in the Champions League, considered unacceptable by many fans, including, regardless of the group. Regardless being the group of death, the performances there are terrible. 0 goals against Udinese, 0 goals against PSG, Juventus, Dortmund, Newcastle, 1 goal against Inter. I mean, how many opportunities in games? So like we're lucky to scrape on by to score against Genoa. So my question is, when does this change? Why is the selection of Luka Jovic happening at the start of a match? Why is this guy earning minutes over Noah Okafor, who, by the way, Noah's got to shoot that one chance? That's a problem. That's a problem. But the choices in general to stick with some of these players or go with these players and change up the formation and say, you go in there, you do this, you do that. When does that end? When do we stop doing this? That we say to ourselves, Luka Jovic isn't good enough for Milan. We knew this at Fiorentina. We knew this at Real Madrid. How many clubs do we have to see this guy go through? That we're giving him starts not because we have to, because Pioli chooses to. There aren't instances where we could look back and say that. We're basically sitting here against one of the worst sides in all of Europe, creating next to no chances, allowing them to create the best chances, conceding multiple corners, making terrible fouls from the players that are in there centrally, meaning the midfielders like Krunic and Yassine Adli, and we're hoping for a different turnout. The fact is this, nothing's going to change at Milan right now unless there is a new manager, in my opinion. I truly do believe that. And it's not to say that I want Pioli out or I want this or that. Ultimately, this is what it comes down to. Are you capable of figuring out a replacement for the manager or changing up the entire squad dynamic that we don't have to see results like this where we're going scoreless in these instances and matches? Because as of right now, I don't see as to why we are sticking with the same thing that's happening. Like, this is just, there's the tiredness, Yoli. I agree with this. I should want him out, but we come down and back to this decision. Demo and I, it's not even I'm saying I want him out or not. I'm leaning towards that anyways. But I always come back to this question of like, who are we going to hire in this instance? I don't know of a person. Do you guys know of a manager out there that is available, that is willing to manage this club, that is of top quality, that makes sense? Don't bring me the Antonio Conte stuff, guys. Regardless if you want Conte, here's the fact of the matter. Redbird and the way they do things aren't going to pay a manager that amount of money. Secondly, they are not going to do business well with Antonio Conte. So even if Antonio Conte were to come in, okay, the guy's always going to complain about investments and putting in this type of money. First of all, the personnel and play style that Milan are with currently do not fit what Antonio Conte likes to do. So Conte being there is not going to happen. On top of the fact that he said he still wants to take the rest of the year off. He's not coming back anytime soon. Ignacio Abate's only managerial experience has been at the youth level. That happening would just probably be an emergency in a caretaker case until the summer. Even then, you risk a lot, like missing top 4. Zinedine Zidane is not coming to Milan. He's not coming to Milan. He wouldn't accept the PSG job. He wouldn't accept a few other jobs. I don't see as to why he would want to join Milan. Marcelo Gallardo is another name that got brought up here. The only issue with Gallardo is that Gallardo has not managed at a club in Europe yet, as far as I understand. And on top of that, why would you want him to manage Milan? I'm not saying he's a bad option. I'm not saying he's not going to be a great manager, this or that. There's significant risk involved with that. So that's the problem. And again, that kind of limits your options for this coming year. I still don't think he gets sacked after today. I think if they finish 4th and crash out of the Champions League, excuse me, almost had a burp. If they continue this trend and crash out of the Champions League in 4th place, I don't see how this happens. You know what has to go down and what needs to work out is that the club needs to win a trophy, and finishing top four isn't going to do much for a lot of fans. And that's really the issue at its core, and that's going to be a problem. Um, yeah, these injury issues. How many times does this club have to put itself in a position where players are missing on a consistent basis? And this is exactly what Santangelo and I were talking about prior to the season. Do not trust this team centrally, midfielders, Krunic and whoever else in the absence of Benacer. Do not trust the defenders to have flawless matches. Shaky today. And then again, you see the fullbacks. The fullbacks are okay at times, but when you have to put in Alessandro Florenzi at his age out of position, what are you gonna get out of that? You're not gonna get much. There's just too many reasons as to why this team is failing at this moment. Um, take me back to the first couple of weeks where we looked like we had more energy and created so many more chances. Obviously, that's easier said than done against a Bologna and a Torino of the world. But where is it? Where's the positive attitude and this, I don't know, I guess the hunger to win? You kind of don't see it. You see them turn that switch on later in the match, right, guys? And then you're like, okay, that's something. We're seeing something there from Milan. Maybe they can get a goal. But why does it have to occur at that moment in the game? Why does it take so long? Why does it take till you're down 1-0? And by the way, a team that is so desperate for points in Serie A, this is what they do. And this is what teams do across every top flight league in this sport to stave off relegation, right? You do everything in your power to scratch and claw for points. Udinese did a perfect job of that today. One of the bogey teams for Milan has been this club, and it continues to be so. Them and Sassuolo always giving Milan problems. Yeah, I mean, it's been going on for decade plus. Lopetegui, I mean, he just got sacked, so I don't even want to take a manager that just got sacked out of a disastrous club. Frank Rijkaard, imagine. I put even Abate as an interim solution because it's inexcusable to not sack Pioli now. You cannot, yeah. I mean, I think what the club will do at this point to kind of say why they're not doing this is because they're still technically in for the knockout stages of the Champions League and they're still top four right now. That's really what it is. That's what it comes down to. But today, of all days and matches and fixtures for this club, felt like a loss of epic proportions because of where this club is headed, where some of the competitors are right now. You cannot lose ground to Inter in a week in which they face Atalanta and Milan face Udinese, who just got their first win. We're in November. Udinese just got their first win of the Serie A Campionato. Okay, so the fact that Milan allow a team like that to do it is disgraceful. And this isn't even negative. Like, I'm getting like hate comments on Twitter and stuff like that about I'm being too negative because I said Yassine Adli's play was terrible. See if we have any updates. Antonio Vitiello is saying that the boos at San Siro were one of the worst in recent years, and we lost to Inter 5-1 this year, just a couple weeks ago, guys. I think this is truly one of the worst type of losses in terms of where a team is expectation-wise, where the competitors are, and what the expectation of what this team should be. And it's not losing to a side like Udinese at home when you can't afford a loss. Because now I believe Lecce is the next match in Serie A. They have PSG, then I believe Milan roll into the break, the third international break. So, yeah, Lecce on the 11th, and then we head into the break. We have PSG now on the 7th. Really not many options for this club to turn it around. But I will say, just to take a quick break from that, just to get everybody else in here. If you guys want to follow us on Spotify, that Milan podcast. We don't have Santangelo today with us to discuss what went down. But if you guys do want to follow the podcast, we try and upload once a week. We'll change up how the upload happens this week just because of the midweek Champions League match. As far as Milan goes, we try and go live after every single match possible. I know there's a ton of recurring people in here, some new, some old. And again, we have how many likes on this video, guys? because I want us to get as many as possible. Uh, because gonna mute that. How many? 11 likes. We should have at least 30 likes in here. So if you guys could really just like up the video, very simple. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Rate us 5 stars on Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you have also not done so already. So again, be greatly appreciated with everything. So to get to some, you rate Arne Slot very highly. Pioli holds on to the summer. Milan would do really well bringing him from Feyenoord. Kind of a big jump. To me, the players look really frustrated during and after games. I really agree with this, Michael. I think everybody could see it. They're visibly frustrated. Pioli's coaches is falling on deaf ears with the players. I think probably the most frustrating part about Pioli in this entire process, and I respect him in a sense for it, but saying that he's not going to change the way they play. And not changing the way you play can backfire for so many different reasons. And I think those reasons are highlighted by what we see today. And it's that, you know what, you change up your style and the formation to fit where you're at with these injuries. But the way you approach these matches are largely the same. Udinese is not the same as PSG. PSG is not the same as Newcastle, just like Dortmund. Like, you have to have tactical flexibility. Pioli, when things are going great with the way he plays, they can go great for a very long time. And we saw the run of form in recent years. And Pioli's done a phenomenal job. I love and respect the man. I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he's a manager who's put himself in a really bad position, and he's getting exposed because of it. And unfortunately, I do think he and the staff are to blame for so many muscular injuries over time. And you're 100% right, Demo. You have to adapt as a manager. It's why so many coaches don't transition well into next eras. And one of those managers is Jose Mourinho. And Mourinho's fantastic. There's so many things that carry over well. It doesn't matter what generation or era of football that you're in. He's going to age like that. And I think that's why he still does so well in international tournaments. International cups, like whatever, like UEFA, Europa League, and obviously the Conference League in which they won. I think that's why he's been able to adapt. But someone like Sir Alex Ferguson being able to manage for so many years, someone like Ancelotti that has been able to adapt, all these guys that have extended their careers into next decades and next eras of football have proven to be flexible. Pioli, listen, you cannot have this type of defensive performance week in, week out, where we're shaking and we're worrying about what's going to happen in terms of conceding goals. It's just not up to par. After the halftime break, Udinese players came out of the tunnel with chance and full of energy. Milan didn't have that. Can we get Carlo to come home? Demo, Ancelotti is going to manage Brazil, bro. So not really an option. To be honest with you. So Milan are kind of stuck with that. So Ancelotti not really an option for Milan when it comes to this situation. To be honest with you. So yeah, it's just really tiresome when we're looking at this. Luka Jovic should not see another minute for this club. I mean, how many times do we have to stick by a player like this who generally creates nothing? Like, I got into arguments with people on Twitter. What else is new about these situations and players and how they defended Jovic's performance against Genoa, and people like that just make me laugh, because there's so many different things that you could do off the ball and instead of like getting chances to score that are not there. They're non-existent, right? Jovic doesn't involve himself in the play. He's very similar to Giroud. I don't think he has nearly as close to the amount of goal-scoring instincts that he does. He's clearly not the same type of finisher. With that, his hold-up play is not close. He can't run him behind a defense either. So what good is he besides the fact that they got him for nothing? I don't know. And then you see Okafor come on, who's clearly a better player, clearly a better striker. And the Yassine Adli foul was a penalty, by the way. It was a penalty, clear as day. You cannot go in and take that risk inside the box and hit somebody without getting the ball. It doesn't matter if there's an exaggeration with the foul. You cannot do that. You cannot make that sort of contact. I mean, the group, and you get this because, like, what else is he supposed to say? Like the man, of course, the manager is going to say, hey, this group is very united. They don't want stuff leaking out. But when you see comments from Giroud and his substitution and the reaction against Napoli, when you see comments from Davide Calabria, when you see body language like that, it points into the direction that maybe things are not all right in that dressing room. And that's just pure speculation. It's not fact. But when sometimes you're able to connect the dots, you could you could unfold the story at hand. I think there's issues within the dressing room. This is my own speculation. There is no fact or truth to this, right? I'm just seeing what I see, what I hear, what I read. And to be honest with you, I don't see how there isn't that type of change right now. Now, the good news is we're just 11 matches into the season. What, 11, 10 matches into the season? Today was number 11. There is time to turn it around. Milan are in a good position in terms of top four, but I think things are growing stale, like everyone in the chat is kind of alluding to. And that's frustrating, and that is very frustrating. How many likes are we at now, guys? So I'm just trying to figure out. Only 16? Come on, there's 60 of you, please. I promise. I don't want to beg like this, but if we can just get some more, things going. It's pretty pathetic. By the way, let's expose another dumbass. Okay, here we go. So this guy, this is what my Twitter looks like. If you want some laughs or entertainment, so we get a bozo, right? Look at the name of the guy here. Oops, zoom in a little bit. Beta incel. So right there, we're already off to a hot start. Someone created an account in January 2023 with 3 followers. That's why we mute bozos like this. Excuse my language, but what a fucking clown. I think he's just probably eager to get on the pitch. I wouldn't read too much into that, but you never know. So Aiden's on the side of that. Oh, of course. Why would they? Yeah, well, nobody likes that, but you could at least like the YouTube video. I'm here still talking. I'm here all the time. I'm not gonna hide. So yeah. Get a couple more comments in here. I still haven't eaten much today. It's already late. What are we looking for? Sorry, I'm looking for stuff in DMs. I haven't seen any more comments or stuff like that being posted. Yeah, a little quiet right now as I'm just trying to see more stuff like that. A couple more comments rolling in here. Curvasud is gonna have to decide between Giron Donnarumma or Pioli on Tuesday. Huh? Yeah, I mean, probably. What do we got here? If we do not get past the group stages of the CL, there's absolutely no excuse for minute. I mean, listen, I just don't think they're going to do it. I would have sacked the guy already. I wouldn't even have used him for this season. I think what he just did this past year, where he technically did miss top 4, should have been a sackable offense on its own. But every other goddamn moron on the planet wants to make an excuse for this manager because of, oh, well, yeah, like his players weren't playing well. The defense was poor. Who was the one making the decisions? Who was the guy choosing not to start Rafael Leao in 2 consecutive Serie A matches in which this conceded more goals than ever in back-to-back matches in the three-pointer? No, Pioli. We don't blame a guy like that, right? He doesn't make those decisions. He's not the one at hand here choosing Tatarusano over Mirante, despite us just seeing what Antonio Mirante did against Juventus, which was better than anything Ciprian Tatarusano did at Milan, besides the Hakan Çalhanoğlu saved penalty. Like, seriously, like, what? Why are there so many different people out here that want to defend this man? And there's a subsection of this fan base that tries to basically insult the rest of the fan base into thinking that it's not the manager's fault. I love how when there's so many issues that are persisting over time and there's multiple common denominators outside of the players, but nobody wants to blame the manager. It's all on the players now. It's not the manager who wanted these players in over the summer. It's not the manager who chooses who starts. It's not the manager who chooses the substitutions. It's not the guy who leads the training sessions. It's not the guy who chooses how many times they do train, right? It's not the guy who chooses the formation. It's not the guy that has anything to do with developing players. Pioli does nothing in terms of that. He is not to blame. What Pioli is just someone who wants to sit there after really bad matches on the road and just sit there like this I am in my chair and just listen to Curva Sud, right? That's it. I could do this. This is all Pioli does then, according to these people, right? Pioli doesn't have anything to do with any of those factors. No. You know, it's one thing to say that you dislike a manager and you don't believe in one, but it's a totally entirely different topic of conversation when you choose to not blame him whatsoever. Like, I see the same people who blame, or get angry about Jovic starting in the 11, but also want to defend Pioli all the time. So which one is it? Make up your mind, all right? Tired of this stupidity. Yeah, Pioli's hire by Maldini saved the club. To be quite frank with you. So yeah. Roll in some of the comments. The earliest I see them sacking, yeah. There's the same act like yeah, well, of course. These are the tacticos of Twitter. The ones that give you 30-page threads about how Milan just progressed the ball forward and broke the final line. Like it's some fucking rocket science. These people are just they think they're Johan Cruyff. Honestly, they think they're God's gift to earth. I know that I don't know everything. And that's what makes me somewhat smart. The fact that people can't admit that they don't know everything, those are the stupid people. To quote Demo's famous countryman. Here, wait. We're looking at. No. What do we got here? Maldini should not have renewed him, though. That is true. Well, what were they gonna do? They were gonna protect himself. He won the title. He's gonna get the extension. How many players do you think I see us maybe getting 2 to 3? Really depends on the situation in terms of making it out of the group. If Betis are willing to sell Juan Miranda to Milan, or if Milan are just overall aggressive to get a forward. Listen, if you could somehow respark interest in Taremi, please. Just please, God Almighty. Just do it. Just do it. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it, man. I'm tired of it. And yeah, according to Moncada's comments, it does look like the club will be looking to push towards the center back. Pioli says he already has ideas for that. So that alone should tell you where Milan stand with Pioli. Fans can kind of stand there and clamor at it. But until Pioli and this club are in a dire, really bad situation, not saying we're not right now, I think we are in a poor situation, they're not going to sack him. They're just not going to do that. I don't even want to put anything with the man in the match here. So again, if you guys have not subscribed to the channel already, please do so. We've had a great number of you guys right now. Miranda, a good center back, Miranda, Taremi. So I'll clip this as just an overall clip right now, and I'm gonna start it. And here are my thoughts on the center back situation for January. So you'll see this clip up on YouTube Shorts. So if you were here, just comment on the YouTube Shorts. Should be like, I saw that live. Wait, have to click over here. Okay, so here's what I want to happen at the center back position come January. Obviously, Milan's issues have been at the center back position. Pierre Kalulu is out for 4 months. Simon Kjaer obviously can't stay healthy, and he's regressed significantly after the ACL injury. We just have Fikayo Tomori and a 21-year-old Malik Chow. Malik Chow, tons of potential, great down the road, but we've seen those inconsistencies already. Tomori can't be starting every week. Milan need to get a proven center back that has proven himself in a top 5 league. It doesn't have to be an elite center back. I'm talking about an opportunistic deal where Milan can bring someone in that has experience that could rotate into Serie A matches or even in the Champions League if they get there to the knockout stages. For me, the most important position that Milan have to add to at this point in time is center back. Because if they don't do so, then they're going to be crashing out of top 4 in Serie A. So that'll be the clip there. Now, as far as names that we would add to the center back position, I can't really think of too many. We've been linked to the Bournemouth center back. They just lost 6-1 to Manchester City today. I didn't get a chance to really look at him. Do you think a striker will come in January, or I mean, it really just depends. I think it should come in January, but there's a good chance it comes in June because of a Jonathan David type. They might overpay. I think we should, Paul, just because the center back situation is really bad. I want both. Both have to be taken into consideration here. Well, I went to school for it. Well, if anybody, not even to try and toot my own horn here, but I did went to school and got my master's degree for broadcasting. I do have experience. I've been on TV before, but as I am in between jobs at the current moment, I have to do what I can. But yeah, I do a lot of these first take wise, and that's usually what you'll see. Oh, whoa. We got Italian in here. And it has something to do with the conflict. Any news on Teo's injury? Diego, we just know that Teo had a knock to his ankle, and that's why he didn't play. Could be there for Tuesday against PSG. Have no idea. Yeah, Dappy, I went to Iona College now, known as Iona University. I'm from New York, so I've been on MSG before. You know what? I actually should have it saved under my favorite videos. I try not to. I should have a reel for for what I do in terms of where the fuck are my favorites? But it should be in my favorites. But if anyone is interested to see when I was on MSG Live TV, we actually did this in one take, and this is my good friend Kevin Walsh. We went to Iona together. This was prior to a Knicks game. Shocker, it's with betting. Unfortunately, I was let go from that place I was working at for years because of when people have a vendetta in this business, not against me per se, but against where I was working, they're gonna do that to you. And unfortunately, I got sacked. Hope Deserbi comes next season with Matoma. Good luck with that. Yeah, Diego, no problem. Yeah, I mean, listen, we're kind of just really sitting here in a difficult spot as Milanisti, hoping something will change, but it'll likely get worse against PSG this week. Listen, I don't think the international break could come sooner for this club. I think you just have to hope to. I mean, they need to win against PSG. I don't think that's going to happen. And with that, you have to beat Lecce. Really. How do you think about Jay coaching skills potential in the future? I don't know. We have to see him at the top flight. Primavera leap, like, listen, people will point to Fabio Capello coming in, but listen, guys, as incredible as Fabio Capello is as a manager historically, the odds of lightning striking twice in the same spot, not very high. Okay. They play good football. He's doing a good job developing players down there, and everything that we've seen, he's done a great job in the UEFA Youth League. It's a risk. This is AC Milan, okay? This is one of the biggest clubs in the world. So when you hire a manager, you have to be dead on. They have to handle the pressure. He's been here, obviously, at a big club before. I just don't think they make that move. I think we see just someone connected to the FSG pipeline, someone that's been involved or invested within Jerry Cardinal and Redbird clubs. You're going to see a name come from there. I don't think it's going to be some of these traditional big names that you'll see. They'll want to get one of their guys. But yeah, all of our starters play 90 minutes today. I'm not confident for PSG. Nor should you be, Paul. I understand. But I'm going to wrap up here in a second. It's getting kind of late. It's going to be daylight savings tomorrow, so it's already midnight in Italy, I believe, or if not, it's 11:30. But I appreciate everybody that's tuned in. We've had so many of you in here today, supporting as usual. Demo, love you, man. Appreciate you. Got big wedding coming up and all that, so I'm excited for that for you. Trying Trying to think of other things at this point. I just don't. I'm just not really sure what else topic wise before we head on out of here. But stay tuned for the next podcast with me, Santangelo. We'll probably go record after PSG. We'll get his thoughts on today's match. I'm sure he's been very disgusted by everything that he saw today. And we'll go from there. I appreciate every single one of you that has tuned in. Thank you, Diego, for the positive comments regarding the channel. Yeah, if you love the channel, any recommendation, another sport to watch, need healing from this sad weekend. Yeah, so for those of you that don't know, I'm obviously from America. Football, soccer, calcio, whatever you want to call it, in terms of my knowledge and what I follow and know, towards the bottom of the list is like my third or fourth most knowledgeable sport. So I will say, the NBA is easily something that you can get into as a casual that you will love. You could just watch so many different players, even if you don't want to pick a team. There's so many games. There's 82 games throughout an entire season, plus the playoffs. There's college basketball as well, which is also fantastic. Victor Wembanyama is probably one of the better players that you will watch and see. Fascinating wise, in terms of all sports, I would highly suggest watching that. Baseball, it's not going on right now, so I probably wouldn't suggest that to the large majority of you, but that's one of my personal favorites. In American football, listen, they only kick a few times and even less now these days. I mean, mine and Demo's teams are straight dog water, dog poopy. Not very good. Like the football team I root for, the American football team, the New York Jets, are like, they're worse than Udinese's club. Like, they're just, you never want to root for them. They're pretty putrid. Hockey's pretty cool, but I'm sure if you're out from Europe, you've seen plenty of it. But yeah, those are really a ton of sports to tune into and watch. But yeah, I'm gonna head on out now, guys. Hopefully you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend. There's not really too much not much else left to say for this. Again, greatly appreciate all of you. Like, subscribe, comment, stay on the channel for the future. I'm going to try and do more things in terms of football topics and in general and stuff like that. But yeah, again, follow us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen to your podcasts. Give us 5 stars. We appreciate all the support. And again, if you came in late, the video gets uploaded afterwards towards the live. You just go and click the live tab on the YouTube channel and you can watch from the very beginning. So other than that, thank you guys so much and we'll see you next time.